Okay, so this is just my little backyard fire pit, kind of my little backyard testing area. I've got this a little bit cleared out, and hang my hammock between here and here. That's where my old camping companion Daisy is buried, and then my buddy that sometimes hammock camps with me goes between these two trees over here. And then we can use this fire pit. This is just a wheel off of a mower that's buried into the ground and sealed in the holes there so that the dirt's all the way around, and then that makes just like a nice little fire pit. But I want to show you how you can find fatwood, at least this is a redwood stand behind my house. So with this, let's see if we can find one. What I want to do is show you how to find fatwood with very minimal stuff, just what's in your pockets. Granted, I have way more things in my pockets, but I just won't use them. So let's say this one looks kind of good. Like all of these little dried branches, that one's kind of sturdy. So let me pause this and grab out a Swiss Army knife and I'll show you. Alright, so I didn't actually record that. I thought I was. So anyway, what I started doing is I started sawing really close to the tree right here that you can see. So anyway, I'm going to pause and I'm going to cut that off. Alright, so I'm almost through there, but I wanted to show you. You can just see it's gummy. It's sticky fatwood coming out of there. So we know that that's going to be good. If this was not doing that, you just do another one, but I'm going to just snap that off since it's so close. But you can see down in there that orange fatwood. In this one, it's primarily only in the bottom half. But anyway, the reason being, what you would do is grab 3 or 4 of these if you could find them. Let's say here's another one that may be good at the base. Let's try it. Take a couple of these. Yeah, that one's pretty sticky too. Oh yeah, that one's really good too. So you got a ton of fatwood in there that you can go harvest if you had to. Scrape that out of there, I'll show you in a minute. So that one's bright red, so that one's good. But you've got them, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're all over, all over these trees. And there's hundreds of these if you wanted to find them. If you really wanted to go crazy, get on one of these bigger trees here. You can get this big boy here. That thing's 2 inches across. You got probably half a dozen of those big ones there, but you may not be able to span them with a Swiss Army knife. They might be a ton of work. So these little guys, this thing's only 1 inch across, but it's full of fatwood. So I'm going to pause this and I'll go back over to my stump by my fire pit and I'll show you how to process it. Alright, so I grabbed a couple of these chunks of bark coming out of the woods there. This one is going to be a little iffy because it's all crumbly at the end. It's kind of punk wood there, it's not bad. But what you can do with this, I'm going to set these aside because otherwise they're so brittle I'm going to crack them. Birch bark would work way better. I'd have to go get some back over there. I can, I guess. Let's see. Let's get this mushroom out of the stump here where I'm at. Or most of it. Alright. So what you want to do is take this stuff, right? So you can't just split and process this. I mean, you kind of could. You could kind of probably baton this and get it smaller. But what I like to do with it is I like to take it like this and saw down the side of it like this. Now ideally you would do this onto your bark there, but I'm afraid I'm going to crack that bark. I'm going to do the first piece here so that if I crack it I can try it again. So what we'll do is we'll put this like this, and we'll just saw. And if this fails, I'll just go get a piece of birch bark. But you can just saw like that. That's it in frame, good. And so what you're making there is obviously dust, but all you've done is just use a simple, see that, how that's breaking apart, that's what I don't want. So I'm going to bind it against here in this hole so that hopefully I don't lose any. But otherwise I can pick it up with my fingers. I'm going to have to do it that way. So set that aside, we'll throw that aside. Let's do this on a clean part of the stump here. The wind's picking up because it's going to rain again. It just rained a minute ago, which everything's a little bit damp, but it's not too bad. So you pinch that up, throw that on there. And this is basically like what people call Maya dust, where it's scrapings. I mean, ideally you'd do this like with the spine of your knife. If you had a nice big piece of fatwood, but you can't always get a nice big piece of fatwood if all you've got is a Swiss Army knife and you're stuck out hiking, you know, ill-prepared. So there's a nice little, whoops, I knocked you guys. There's a nice little piece of fatwood we'll just lay there. I'll pick up these little pieces here. And we'll just pinch up these pieces here, pile them on. Pinch up all these other pieces. So obviously we're losing some, but ideally you'd just do it onto a bandana or whatever. So anyway, that's the basic concept. I'm going to pause. Alright, so right here at the end you've got a piece, basically it's all dished out. There's a little bit left up in there. You could really kind of go crazy. At this point I was just kind of working the saw back and forth, just making this pile down here. I've still got some over there. So what you can do is you can leave this pile, this piece kind of in the pile where you're building, and then pile even around it, because that big piece down in there is going to burn like crazy too. I'm going to stick this other one that we the other one that we got off to the side. We only really need the one. I'm going to just put all of this together, since I'll just start it on this stump instead of, normally you could do it on this and then transplant it under, you know, light it and shove it under your fire. But I'll just do it here on this. Just cleaning some of the fatwood off my saw. It'll gum your saw up pretty good. So anyway, and then I've got just in my pocket, which actually is a rechargeable Surefire Streamlight, chunk of fatwood actually in there. This is like Menard's fatwood, so it's just really good fatwood, but it's just a little tiny stick of it that I keep down there, and then Swiss Army knife in beside it there, and then this fire steel here, or ferro rod. People get touchy about falling on a fire steel. So let's see. So I don't like, I've also got a quick tinder down in there that we're not going to use. I don't like their little sparker. It kind of sucks. So what I'll do is I'll flip this around so they still get a handle, and then in here I've sharpened up the inside of the bottle opener there. I really don't use a bottle opener. You can use the back of the saw, works really well. The problem is that it tries to fold on you. So as you're as you're sparking, it tries to fold on you like that. So I've tried numerous ways. I've had pretty good luck with taking and flipping both blades open like this, putting a loop of paracord around both and running it back to the other end so that I can pinch it with my hand, and that way it's pulling tension downways so that the blade can't retract, if that makes sense. So it's like tension pulling this way and up and around the spine of the knife. It's a lot more work. It's a lot more work than just getting in here and giving this a good 90-degree edge. So with this 90-degree edge, you've got good sparks that way. So you can come in here wow, that's really hard to do through the camera. I don't know how you people do this. Everything's really, really wet, and this is a small ferro rod, so we're just gonna have to do this pump and spray method till it warms up. So this should go almost like a friction fire because I've got an ember underneath. It's just so darn wet. And this little ferro rod isn't ideal, but that gives you a good reason to carry a pick lighter, eh? There we go. Wow. Yeah, good to be persistent, but everything's wet, so it's good that it happens when you're in your backyard. So anyway, there's fire with that. And just a Swiss Army knife. And then anything else you can collect. You know, just dry branches and things to get some more good going on. So, thanks for watching. Alright, so here's some bonus footage because that was so hard. So, just to kind of make you carry more stuff with you. So this is a longer piece of the Fatwood from Menards. I carry these. They're not very sticky, which is nice, and they're really cheap. I don't know what they cost now, but it's like $6 or $8 for a big bag of it. So anyway, it's in with the fireplace stuff at Menards and probably Home Depot or wherever. So here's where that one just burned out, even after, I mean, it burned for probably 45 seconds or a minute or something. So anyway, this chunk of Fatwood, like, we won't use all of it by any means, but where we've got like a good fixed blade with a good sharp spine, and we can wheel off pieces of this stuff way quick. And we're not gonna by any means use the whole piece. I just want to clean it up so it's not got those sharp ridges where it was stopping. So make a couple curls down there just so it doesn't get too big fat end on there. Okay. Okay, so we'll just kind of smooth that edge out too. And this is only however long this has been recording, 30 seconds or something. So, alright, so we'll do that. Lay that piece back there. Whoops. I'm pretty terrible with this recording stuff. Alright, so we'll put that there. Pile this little pile up. Granted, this is way better Fatwood too because it's been in my pocket. Grab a different ferro rod out of my pocket. This is that little tiny one. Got a big fat one. This used to be a 5-inch. Wound up wearing it thin in the middle and it finally broke. I put a point on it so that it bites in better. Something I learned from David West. So you can pin down the material. Give this thing, I'm going to try and do it through the camera. Give that a couple good pumps and you're off to the races. So that's that much easier than struggling, and it's better Fatwood too. I'm gonna lift my phone up. It's the only phone I got. So better Fatwood, bigger ferro rod, easy. Not heavy, not hard to carry in your pocket. Fixed blade just on my belt, and there you go. So makes good sense to carry a little bit of extra stuff. That's why I carry the other Fatwood in with the Swiss Army knife, because I can scrape it with the same the side of my bottle opener and get the same kind of results out of that as well. So there we go. Just a kind of a comparison to why you should carry better stuff instead of having to struggle.